The theme of unexpected connection is one of the most powerful and enduring ideas in storytelling, and in the context of this story it takes on a special weight. When two people from vastly different worlds collide in circumstances neither planned nor could have foreseen, the air between them changes. The CEO is a man of power, wealth, and influence, someone who has built his empire through relentless ambition and precision. His days are governed by schedules, numbers, and results. Everything in his life is curated, from the car he drives to the watch he wears, and there is little room for randomness. Yet, life has a strange way of unsettling the order of even the most structured lives, and it does so at the moment he notices the nurse at the bus stop. For him, that sight is ordinary on the surface, but what it ignites inside him is something rare. This is the essence of unexpected connection. It sneaks past barriers, ignores logic, and strikes without warning, often leaving a permanent mark. The nurse, on the other hand, is a figure defined not by abundance but by restraint. Her life is built around service, discipline, and emotional control. Nurses are often exposed to human suffering, vulnerability, and mortality in ways that strip away illusions. She has learned not to be easily moved, not to give away her feelings freely, and not to expect comfort in return. This has made her appear cold to others, perhaps even distant, but in truth her coldness is a shield. She has seen too much of life's fragility to be swept away by sentiment, and so she guards herself. Standing at the bus stop, she is not seeking an adventure, not looking for someone to disrupt her life. She is simply waiting to get home after a long shift, wrapped in her own silence. But it is precisely in such a mundane, unadorned moment that the extraordinary takes shape. What makes their connection unexpected is not just the difference in their social status or circumstances but the fact that neither is searching for the other. The CEO has no reason to stop for a stranger, especially one who stands at a bus stop like countless others he has passed by without a thought. The nurse has no reason to accept his attention, no reason to step out of the protective shell she has constructed. Yet, in that fleeting intersection of lives, something begins. Perhaps it is in the way her eyes carry both exhaustion and strength, or in the way she does not look at him with admiration or intimidation, unlike the many people who orbit his world. For a man accustomed to being treated as an object of authority or desire, her indifference is magnetic. For her, his sudden willingness to pause and acknowledge her presence disrupts the predictable rhythm of her day, challenging her assumptions about people like him. This is how an unexpected connection works. It defies categories and expectations, planting seeds of curiosity where none should grow. There is also an undercurrent of vulnerability that makes such connections possible. The CEO, despite his wealth and status, may carry his own private loneliness. Success does not shield one from emptiness, in fact, it often amplifies it. Surrounded by people who want something from him, he has grown used to relationships that are transactional. When he sees the nurse, he senses a presence that is not transactional, someone who owes him nothing and desires nothing from him. It is in her very distance that he feels drawn closer. On her side, the nurse has hardened herself against emotional entanglements, perhaps because of past disappointments or the nature of her work, which requires constant strength. Yet, in the act of being noticed by someone so far removed from her world, she experiences a shift. She has no intention of letting down her guard, but the act of recognition itself pierces through the cold exterior. Unexpected connection, then, is born in the recognition of each other's humanity, even when words have not yet been exchanged. Another important aspect of this theme is the disruption it brings. Both characters are forced out of their patterns. For the CEO, approaching the nurse is an act of spontaneity, a deviation from the script of his ordered life. It is irrational, impractical, even risky for his reputation. Yet he feels compelled, as though something beyond reason pushes him forward. For the nurse, engaging with him is equally disruptive. She is not accustomed to men of his stature paying attention to her, and she is wary of motives. She could dismiss him, retreat further into her shell, but something about the encounter unsettles her defenses. These disruptions, though uncomfortable, are the birthplace of transformation. The unexpected connection thrives precisely because it challenges what each character thought they knew about themselves and about the world. What is especially poignant about this dynamic is the element of contrast. He is defined by excess, she by restraint. He lives in abundance, she in limitation. He is surrounded by admiration, she by indifference. These contrasts could easily have kept them apart, creating a gulf too wide to cross. But in the strange logic of unexpected connections, contrasts become attractions. His abundance highlights her modesty, making him see the value in simplicity. Her restraint emphasizes his own excess, reminding him of what money cannot buy. These contrasts not only draw them together but also allow them to learn from each other. He may begin to value silence, honesty, and authenticity in a way he never did before. She may begin to see that openness and vulnerability are not always threats, that there is room in life for softness without weakness. In this way, the connection becomes transformative, even though neither set out to be transformed. One must also consider the role of chance in such encounters. Life is filled with patterns and routines, yet sometimes a small shift, a delayed car, a missed appointment, a sudden decision to walk instead of ride, creates the conditions for a meeting that alters everything. The bus stop is not glamorous, not significant in any grand sense, but it becomes the stage for something profound. The CEO, a man of carefully designed environments, finds his most meaningful encounter in a place that is not curated, not exclusive, not intended for him. The nurse, who expects nothing remarkable from her weary commute, becomes the center of attention for someone whose attention is usually unreachable. It is the ordinariness of the setting that sharpens the extraordinariness of the connection. This is the irony of unexpected bonds, they often bloom in the least likely soil. Furthermore, unexpected connections reveal the limits of control. The CEO's life is built on control of markets, of people, of outcomes. Yet in this moment, he cannot control what draws him toward her. It is not a business calculation, not a strategic move, but an instinct, almost an ache. For the nurse, control has been her armor, a way to withstand the emotional toll of her work and her life. Yet she cannot fully control the subtle stirring she feels when his gaze lingers, when his presence refuses to blend into the faceless crowd. Both must confront the truth that not everything in life can be managed or predicted. And in acknowledging this truth, they allow themselves to step into a space where genuine connection is possible. The idea of unexpected connection also carries a universal resonance. Readers or viewers of the story recognize in it a reflection of their own lives. Everyone has had moments where they encountered someone by chance, someone who left a lasting impression without warning. These encounters remind us that human relationships are not entirely within our control, that they are influenced by forces beyond logic, timing, circumstance, even fate. In The CEO and the Nurse, we see a dramatized version of this reality, where the stakes are heightened by their differences, but the core experience is one we all understand. The story taps into the hope that even in the routines of life, something extraordinary might still happen, that connection can arrive when least expected, and that it has the power to alter the trajectory of a life. The journey of healing is rarely linear, and when it is interwoven with the unexpected bond between two people from opposite walks of life, it becomes a story of layers. The CEO in this tale is not simply a man of wealth and success, but someone who, behind his polished exterior, carries hidden fractures. His empire and achievements may paint a picture of triumph, yet beneath them lies exhaustion, isolation, and a quiet hunger for meaning that no deal, no acquisition, and no gala can satisfy. The nurse, in contrast, represents the other side of survival, someone who has lived not with excess but with endurance, whose life has been molded by witnessing suffering day after day. Her heart, once open and perhaps even tender, has grown cold not because she lacks empathy but because empathy has cost her too much. She has seen patients die despite her efforts, watched families crumble under grief, and learned that detachment is the only way to keep functioning. Their meeting sets into motion not just a romance, but a slow unraveling of these scars, a shared passage toward becoming whole again. For the CEO, healing begins the moment he allows himself to step outside his structured world. Approaching the nurse at the bus stop is not merely an act of curiosity but an unconscious rebellion against the life he has built, one that is glossy but hollow. His attraction to her is not about her beauty or status, but about the stillness she carries, even if it is cloaked in coldness. She is not trying to impress him, not seeking to enter his orbit, and that unfamiliar resistance becomes a mirror. It shows him how little of his life is defined by genuine human connection. Healing for him, therefore, does not begin with her acceptance but with the very act of confronting his own emptiness. In reaching out to someone who owes him nothing, he starts to peel away the layers of pride and control that have imprisoned him for years. For the nurse, healing is more reluctant. Her coldness is not a natural state but a carefully cultivated shield, and when the CEO disrupts her solitude, her instinct is to retreat. She has built her identity around self-reliance, dismissing the need for comfort or companionship as unnecessary luxuries. Accepting attention from him feels dangerous, as if it threatens to crack the walls she has built around her heart. Yet the journey of healing often requires precisely this danger, being seen by someone who refuses to let the walls remain unchallenged. His persistence, though unfamiliar, begins to carve small openings in her silence. She finds herself not only recognized but valued for who she is, not for any role she plays. For someone who has spent years blending into the background of emergencies and hospital corridors, this recognition is disarming. Healing begins for her in the acknowledgement that her presence matters, that she can be more than just a caretaker of others' pain. The intertwining of their paths creates a rhythm of exchange. He offers her warmth in the form of patience and attentiveness, things he has perhaps never extended to anyone before because he never had to. His power and wealth usually demanded attention rather than offered it, but with her, he learns to listen. Listening itself becomes a form of medicine, soothing her coldness not by melting it quickly, but by respecting its existence. She, in return, offers him honesty and restraint. She does not flatter him, does not bend to his influence, and in doing so, she gives him something rare, a reality check that grounds him. In her presence, he cannot hide behind the veneer of a CEO, he must confront himself as a man. This exchange is the foundation of their shared healing, where each offers what the other has lacked, not in grand gestures but in small, consistent ways. Their journey is also marked by confrontation with vulnerability. For the CEO, vulnerability has always been hidden. To reveal weakness in his world is to invite exploitation. Yet in moments with her, he discovers that revealing his loneliness, his fatigue, his private doubts does not diminish him but instead draws her closer. He learns that power is not in controlling every detail but in admitting when he is broken. For the nurse, vulnerability is an even greater hurdle. She has lived in environments where showing emotion could compromise her ability to act decisively. Tears have no place in an emergency ward, and fear cannot dictate a nurse's hands. Her coldness is not cruelty but discipline, a survival mechanism. Allowing herself to feel again, to lean on someone else, is terrifying. Yet the CEO's presence slowly creates a space where vulnerability is not weakness but connection. Together, they redefine what it means to be strong, not as an absence of fragility but as the courage to face it openly. The healing they undergo is not only personal but relational. In their bond, they reimagine what companionship can be. He begins to see her world, perhaps by visiting the hospital, watching her interact with patients, or listening to her stories about long nights on duty. These glimpses humble him, stripping away his arrogance. He realizes that real strength is not in commanding boardrooms but in standing beside someone through suffering. She, in turn, glimpses his world not as a parade of luxury but as a constant performance. She sees the fatigue in his eyes after endless meetings, the silence of his home when the guests leave, the pressure of expectations he cannot escape. Through this, her judgments soften, and she begins to understand that wealth does not guarantee peace. Their shared understanding heals the distance between them, reminding both that at the core, human beings are bound by the same needs: to be seen, to be heard, to be cared for. Time plays a crucial role in this journey. Healing does not happen overnight, and their bond is not without friction. She pushes him away when his attention feels too invasive. He withdraws when her coldness cuts too deeply. Yet the willingness to return, to try again, becomes the real marker of growth. Each time they stumble and resume, they stitch another layer of trust into their bond. The journey of healing is not about perfection but about persistence, and in this, both of them learn resilience together. Their scars do not vanish, but they become less defining. What once was a source of pain becomes a reminder of how far they have come. What deepens the meaning of this journey is the balance of giving and receiving. The CEO is accustomed to giving in material terms, solving problems with money, gifts, or influence. But with the nurse, he cannot buy his way into her heart. He must learn to give differently: time, patience, humility. She is accustomed to giving emotionally, pouring herself into the care of others, often to her own detriment. With him, she must learn to receive, to allow someone to care for her without suspicion. This reversal is healing in itself. He discovers that love is not about control, and she discovers that love is not always a burden. Together, they step into a rhythm of reciprocity, where healing is sustained not by sacrifice alone but by mutual nurturing. The physical spaces they occupy also become part of their healing. The bus stop where they first meet symbolizes transience, a place of waiting and passing. As they grow closer, new spaces emerge, His luxurious home that once felt empty begins to carry warmth with her presence, while her modest apartment becomes a place where he finds authenticity stripped of grandeur. Hospitals, restaurants, cars, even city streets, all become backdrops to their evolving bond, each scene layered with moments of growth. Healing is not confined to one place but scattered across these spaces, each leaving an imprint on their journey. At its heart, the journey of healing in their story is about rediscovering humanity. The CEO, immersed in the machinery of business, rediscovers the simplicity of care, the value of gentleness, the relief of being accepted without pretense. The nurse, numbed by years of witnessing suffering, rediscovers joy, the possibility of connection, the beauty of allowing someone to share her burdens. Healing does not erase their differences but embraces them, allowing each to bring light into the other's shadows. It is not the grand events but the quiet exchanges, the shared silences, the laughter after long days, the hand held without words, that carry the real weight of their transformation.